there's so many other options that you can go for right now. It's not as crazy high priority. The Aphelios picked up. They could do a Thresh steal away and pair the Thresh with the Jinx. That has been pretty popular.
Yeah.
But Lulu's also just a very good compatriot here for Aphelios as well.
Blaber did say that they have won every game when they play Elise Jayce. He has said this previously, so that's why they're just locking it in this playoff game. It feels like a playoff game. It's actually not, but it changes seeding.
I mean,
so it kind of is. It's a postseason game.
This is the finals of the regular season.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
Yeah,
the best of one finals.
It's
of
probably the most
season.
valuable game we played this regular season.
Yeah. Okay, so in response, though, there's the Thresh I'm talking about. Do they want to grab jungle here? Sejuani is available. Spica has done wonders for FlyQuest on tanks. They don't care yet.
Not quite at that point in the draft just yet. Sion getting locked in for FlyQuest, having that formidable tank in the top lane to hold it down. But Cloud9, I do, when looking at this game in particular, off of some of the flexibility we saw last time, they're definitely one of the most intriguing in draft in the way that they respond.
Especially because when you're looking at Fudge, you think he can go so many ways. He can play the Cassante or the Cho'Gath tank matchup, or he can go tank buster matchups as well. And since Cloud9 already, whenever you slam down Elise Jayce, it does look like they want to go early game, and they're going to cap that right off as well. They do have confidence in Berserker's Draven again.
Jayce is a flex pick, but it probably feels like it's gonna be mid lane. It really does depend on the matchup, so they can
EMENES wants a run back, okay? He did a little bit of soft inting in the previous one, and we'll see how they go now.
Yeah, and getting some perspective, I was talking to Revenge Immortals in the makeup room after that match previously, and how much of a dagger that can be in the draft and really set up how you approach the rest of the game when thrown off kilter in such a way. So Cloud9 bringing that energy just even in the way that we respond to the picks they bring to the table. But early investment really putting priority on getting a bot lane online to have that impact on the game.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look like this is going to be a 40-minute game. It looks like one of those games that's going to be decided within the first 30 minutes, much like the two games they've already played this split. First matchup in week 2, FlyQuest won in 29 minutes. Second matchup was a 26-minute win for Cloud9. And in the game earlier today, we mentioned about EMENES. He died 10 times on his Jayce. That is more than any individual player has died in an LCS game this split.
So he hit his 10-death power spike, and now it's time to take advantage of that power spike by running it back. I'm really curious here, though, what Spica's going to end up going with in jungle, because Cloud9 really good double bans here on AD early game playmaking junglers, taking away one of FlyQuest's really big tools there, and they don't want to over-index in tanks. Whenever you have already tank top and Thresh doesn't do very much damage from support role either, another engaged champ, it would be too much to just overload on triple tanks, especially versus all the firepower that Cloud9 have. I love this combo, super aggressive. They actually throw the Renata down with it. Now you're even really worried about getting too many melees on the side of FlyQuest too, all charging into a Renata ultimate.
Yeah, 100% this is going to force cleanse from Prince as well. I did a little inhale when they had the Pantheon hovered because he's been buffed, and I was wondering if they're going to slam it, but the Renata feels like something that has a much higher chance in lane against
the early game, the dueling early game AD junglers, they got double banned, but they did not ban the Xin. This is the most risky of them because Xin has no escapes of his own. If you get caught out, you will burn cooldowns, you will burn summoner spells, or you will burn your ultimate. So really like this from Spica. This is one of the champions that when he was on TSM, you know, he was getting quadra kills with, even in games that they were losing. So big stuff from him. I'm really excited too because even though Ravenous Hydra was changed and nerfed a little bit, it's still really, really good on Xin specifically because his W actually applies lifesteal and then all the rest of his damages from autos as anyway. So he actually has a really, really high carry potential from the jungle.
And after Spica spending the first round robin on take duty, really facilitating the rest of the squad, the narrative changing in the direction of him bringing back that style that made fans
cases. Recency bias shouldn't be everything, but honestly, a lot of people are going to be swung by this game, I think.
I was just about to say, nothing like a last game late at night on a Friday to really inform your overall decision-making on the ballots.
All right, I want to see how early Sparks will fly towards this bottom lane. Berserker and Zven with the Draven Renata lane here again. And Blaber on early playmaking Elise. You would think red buff start, go towards bottom side, but so many pings off this invade, and the ward here from FlyQuest very good on blue buff to see where Blaber does starts.
Yeah, FlyQuest had a stronger level 1, so they 5-man got that ward of blue buff. There is a sweeper on Zven, but they currently... What's the cooldown on it?
He placed the ward. You
he
see
placed the ward and swapped
the
it?
ward on the
okay.
bottom side. If you
so they have no way of sweeping
this.
This
It won't be available until the monsters spawn. So he can get it. It'll just be a little bit late.
Cloud9 continuing with their cluster over in the jungle. Blue now spawning. We are for sure looking at the junglers specifically in this early game, how Blaber looks to enable these lanes to unlock them for that early power and get this Draven to a strong place to contest FlyQuest.
And the good thing for Blaber is that you can visit any of these lanes. You will get big returns. They are all high carry potential. Kind of keep things up in the air. That ward playing a lot of information here though for FlyQuest. They see him blue 2 Gromp, so they know don't have to worry about anything too early.
All right, but bringing some attention over to the FlyQuest side, pretty distinct in what Blaber is trying to do to get things ahead for Cloud9, but what are you expecting in FlyQuest to try and offset that?
I think FlyQuest has fairly early information about where Blaber is. They did get warded out themselves. They're honestly, I think, just trying to get out of the first 4 minutes of the game, where I think Cloud9 has a lot of prio.
Keep themselves a contender against Cloud9 in those early minutes so they don't fall too behind, but no crazy shenanigans just yet. I think one thing when looking at what Zven is bringing alongside Berserker, how can he use these lockdowns onto Eyla, onto Prince to set up this lane for success? And has been stepping forward so much as a support now with this entirety of this split and having lots of games under his belt. Definitely in the conversation as a top contender.
This is a really big ward here for FlyQuest because now Spica knows that bottom side is fully open. There's no Elise waiting in any brush. He doesn't have to worry about the surprise cocoon combo. So he can clear down through Raptors towards bottom Scuttle Crab.
So all that's starting to build up some of that farming lead for Spica because of what was afforded through this vision. Very crucial in making sure to maintain proper pathing here.
Oh. So really good warding so far for Vicla. You can see he's got wards on both sides of the river. It's very much a handshake of Scuttle Crabs at the moment because the junglers are pretty much on vision.
Good trades across the mid lane. The charm and the response of the slam down from EMENES. Spica in the vicinity, so I think when looking across that riverside with such an emphasis on those jungle rotations, great to point out what Vicla was able to do to create that security for the squad around that positioning, using the teleport now to get back to lane after that heavy trading across.
All right, let's see if we have a wraparound gank here. Spica hovering towards bottom side. There's no wards through the brush, but it's bottom lanes are both recalling anyways, so they're gonna call it a draw.
All right, nothing to be had over on the bot side, even with Spica's presence. All the while, Blaber making his way towards top. Fudge going in for the stun, gets lots of damage, and first blood for Cloud9 making that play happen.
And there's those returns on the carry for top side here. Blaber able to follow up the flash cocoon into the Fudge stun. And now big wave pushing towards his tower, teleports back from impact here to try and make sure this wave crashes.
Yeah, and interestingly, that lane was going fairly well for impact. The wave will crash. He should be able to get back. If that E would have landed, it would have been huge, but now Fudge is going to be the beneficiary of that huge wave. He won't be down in lane, and it accelerates Blaber.
Teleport back to lane for Fudge after that play from Blaber, doing exactly what you want to see him do on the Elise.
Yeah, always looking for that early first blood money so you can get your Sorcerer's Shoes. Move speed, spell pen. Exactly what you need for the early stages. Now looking a little bit towards bottom side. There's a lot of wards in these lane brush for FlyQuest though. Really good side lane wards here. Do see the Elise slipping through. With the bottom side push on the minions though, they can just rotate right over to Dragon. 5.5 minutes in, get that stacking.
Yeah, nice and early. There was that early control that was thrown down from the FlyQuest side, but now Cloud9 collapsing upon it to take overall control of this area. Prince and Eyla in the vicinity, taking out a control on their own. Vicla posing a potential collapse, but the dragon is good for Cloud9. The root, the pull-in, the stun-up, and more support eliminated for Cloud9 in favor of themselves. What a blast across the riverside.
Yeah, and the cash-in for Berserker. I think that was such an amazing play by Zven. I was just about to say, this seems like such a more focused Cloud9 than we saw in the first game of the day, but then EMENES dies and Blaber's in river.
Oh, still going for it. Spica, the head-to-head. Blaber getting out of there safely. Oh, a close one at that.
Fudge continuing to pound away on topside. He's out of mana, though, so it doesn't look like there's going to be any tower dive or any action there. Honestly, with both EMENES and Eyla going down, those are the two death leaders for their teams from the earlier game of today as well. Both getting picked on, kind of. And here it is. Zven going right for it, flashes. Eyla does not flash in response. Gets nailed. Zven hits him with the emote as well.
EMENES down, level 6 versus level 5, though, I think was kind of trapped in river, trying to support his team. A little bit reminiscent, actually, of his first LCS game against Golden Guardians, where he was a little bit split off from his team.
Yeah, pulled over to the dragon for the team, then trying to get back the lane. And Vicla had as well pushed the wave into the tower, so denying those minions to him.
So a good play of aggression from Zven to use that flash to get the kill onto Eyla, but the response from FlyQuest to collapse upon EMENES down on mid side means that the gold itself is even. You still have to consider where that gold is building, and getting that advantage onto someone like Berserker on the Draven being so important for the Cloud9 side, whereas FlyQuest finding the angles to respond to get kills, but looking for another opportunity for objective control in the future.
Yeah, and overall, I think this game has gone about how you would have expected the first 7 minutes, 40 seconds to go from draft. It's still very close, very competitive. I also do want to point out, like, the level of comfort between the players in this game. Like, I'd say Eyla, his best champion is probably Thresh. If we even think back to his LCS debut last year in Lock-In, his best games were on Thresh. He's been struggling a little bit, throwing him on Thresh with Prince's Aphelios. Very comfortable for that bottom lane. And even on the side of C9, we know how aggressive EMENES wants to try and play in lane, so the Jayce does make sense. I really love the teams really giving their best shot in this match for first.
All right, this is a classic one. Spica goes over. Jungle helps mid lane push out. They have mid lane priority, rotate over to the Rift Herald, and that means with all this vision, Blaber trying to make a play on bottom side. Maybe they go for a dive. There is a stacked up wave here. Berserker gonna try and get, oh, it's red-white guns,
I think they're gonna lose the wave.
Red-white guns is so scary.
Red-white fight, right? Is that the say?
Oh.
Chuck.
Vicla marked down pretty low. Unstoppable force coming from Impact for the response. A good blast. EMENES eliminated by Fly.
This could also be like the LCS regular season single day death record for a player, because he's now at 12 on
Do we
Jayce.
just keep counting from the last game? Did he end with 10? So he's up to 12 now?
Yeah, he's up at 12.
Okay. Well, that was actually technically a solo bolo as well.
All right, here, the dive is good. Then gets
Red,
one
white,
lock
don't
with their
fight.
teleport in response. A good blast onto Zven. Goes down. The charm attempted, but Blaber making sure to avoid as much as possible. A good hook, a good kill. Vicla with the credit.
There's Eyla waking up, finds a nice one, snags Blaber, gets the double buffs over here for Vicla. The Ahri now set to try and carry through mid-game. Double buffs on Vicla, 2 kills for his name. He's getting rich very quickly off these skirmishes.
Yeah, and I think with all the talk that there has been about Berserker, Blaber, Fudge, Spica, Eyla, is Eyla versus Winsome the reason that FlyQuest hasn't looked as good in the first half? I would say Vicla has had the biggest drop-off of any player for FlyQuest from first half to second half. So for this game, getting this technically a solo kill against EMENES and then teleporting down bottom, he is now going to be in a position to carry this game.
It feels like sometimes the conversation surrounding Vicla was under the radar of a star Prince player in the end, right? And now getting moments to be part of the combo more.
And then looking at the tower dive, Ayla's the one who starts it out. He got the original death sentence onto Renata, follows it up here. Blaber goes into human form real quick. Drops immediately here to Vicla, and now we get to see what can he do with the extra money. Fudge, classic top laners, alone time up there. He has been laying it into Impact since the beginning, although Impact doing a good job not dropping too many CS in the process.
Yeah, Sion definitely able to hold the zone in the early laning phase. One of the reasons he's such an effective tank in the pro game. And we got this Infernal Drake up with Prince still being able to get lane prio, but you can see Cloud9 trying to retake through the river.
Berserker having double sums is critical here. Berserker with flash and plant.
Another hook!
Oh, the follow-up is good. Zven
Got him!
again targeted, eliminated. FlyQuest with the follow-up. Vicla ulting his little heart out to try and get some action onto remaining Cloud9 members, but Spica being marked down to 50% still has the protection of his team.
Another massive hook there by Eyla. It was a very difficult dragon for Cloud9 to retake. I think they feel the pressure to try and stack dragons early, but that was just not the time to move in.
Blaber's still around, trying to decide.
He's really going for this.
Yeah, it was.
What is EMENES' plan here?
Oh, going in, whirling death from the downtown. Charm attempted, another taken away. EMENES to fall. Blaber wants to get the response onto Vicla before he himself falls to the dagger of FlyQuest, but another hook, another follow-up, another flash forward. Spica going in for it, gets the kill. The aggression being rewarded. It's just a slap back and forth between these teams. Fudge getting his time to shine in the sun. But what was happening there?
I guess that was the plan. Like, I guess they actually won that fight. They get the shutdown onto Vicla. They kill Spica. I don't think they ended up getting his bounty. That's going to be a post-death bounty, but they are now up 500 gold in the game, and they got a kill onto Fudge and another one onto Berserker.
If you're dying, just fight until you start winning.
I mean, look at this read. It's a 2v5. EMENES is like, I guess I'm just going to do damage and die, which is what happens.
So they did. You could tell the comms were ready, though, because Berserker throws his ult early. They're trying to combine the Jayce melee form engage with the Berserker ultimate, but it's very, very sketchy. Blaber then dodges out on that W, trying to get backwards. Prince goes down. Berserker also giving up on the kill.
More fighting going at it again. Blaber, the subject of Spica's gaze, and the rest of the team is here to follow up. EMENES from over the wall wants to get some of these shots left.
Spica,
Going in. Eyla lands the death sentence, follows up the box, thrown down for the action. Shelly's still getting that charge onto Berserker. Plays it out. Berserker wants to throw down the whirling death, gets the double kill. What you want to see from Draven. Can he make it happen? Oh, with the bailout. Lane on top for Cloud9.
Berserker wants that MVP. Oh my God, that Draven. Renata combination. He gets the revive on the bailout as well. Berserker knows. He knows this is all on him to try and save this game with how quick it's going in the favor of FlyQuest with all those kills. And so Berserker just sends it. Blast cones over, kills them all.
I gotta say, that was a very valuable moment. He now has 2,500 gold of value, able to just fill his inventory with damage.
Look at the mini-map right now. Look at the mini-map.
He's in mid.
Up.
He's on his way.
He's walking up on Draven. You see the Ahri come over, double dashes with her ultimate.
And then I also have to say, like, he's biding his time until Spica's got nothing left. They don't expect him. And I think both teams are completely ready to throw down here. They're able, getting that whirling death, and then such a clutch bailout from Zven. I don't think Prince was necessarily tracking the cooldown because it comes in last second, able to get the revive, and then just, how far into the game are we? 13-minute quadra kill? Unbelievable.
Where's that gold graph? Where's that gold graph?
1,000 total gold earned.
Look at that gold lead for Cloud9. I wonder where most of that gold is. That's a pretty hefty red bar there at the top of the charts.
Just wait till that Infinity Edge comes in, and you really start to see it. Everybody's going to be keeping track really heavily of his summoner spells as well, with obvious giant gold bounty on the back of Berserker. He is the Cloud9 advantage. He is more than the Cloud9 advantage just himself. So C9, if they fight away from Berserker, that's an L.
Yeah,
they have to fight around him.
And they do have tools to keep him alive. He has his own cleanse, which is going to be off cooldown. As of basically now, it just ticked. And then Zven just has to really save all of his buttons for Berserker. They don't necessarily have a team comp that is good at protecting a carry, but that's how they have to approach these fights because he's so fed.
With the tools that they do have, we have seen some of those moments from Zven to be able to protect with the good locks of the handshake, with the good use of the bailout to keep Berserker in it. We need to see more of that from Cloud9 as time goes on.
I love that the final game for both of these teams for the regular season is going to come down to some hero plays.
And
currently, the target is on the Berserker's back, but who's going to take it?
Dragon up in 40 seconds. The last time Cloud9 didn't have mid or bot prio, so they tried to come in through this little spot in River and got picked. It's really important that they can get enough people mid to push and be able to enter River from a wider space. Well, they're just going in early, and FlyQuest isn't in position yet, so they're going to get control.
15 seconds until the Dragon does finally spawn, so Cloud9
This is going to be a brawl.
Oh, yeah.
already setting up for the fight. The attempt out from
Tried to poke.
Prince, starting with the Moonlight Vigil to get that poke online.
Okay, they're going for
Impact
mid-prio
now
here.
down.
I mean, it looks doable for Cloud9, even though it's kind of scary going in through vision. Berserker was able to finish his Infinity Edge. They just need to create space for him.
Yeah, once that hook missed from Eyla, they were able to go in. They had to really play fancy feet. But again, starting Dragon without a clear ability to turn is very dangerous. This is going to be explosive.
And all the while, Cloud9 continuing on to that Dragon focus, picking it up for themselves. Vicla wants to get some kind of consolation prize.
He's gotta run.
EMENES going and flashing away to avoid the charm and the Rift Herald that was previously acquired, having been dropped down at that moment to try and draw some kind of pressure, considering Cloud9's focus on that Dragon.
Yeah, honestly, that's very good news for Cloud9 to be able to get the Dragon and only giving up the one turret with a Rift Herald activation.
I mean, how close are these teams?
Well, they're tied, Jatt. That's why we're in a tiebreaker.
They're 14-4. They're 10 kills to 10 kills. They're like 800 gold apart from each other. Most of that is the Draven passive. This is such a nice finale for their regular season.
Even when looking at the head-to-head of the individual players and the storyline behind that, the fact that they are neck and neck. You look at Spica and Blaber, who came onto the scene in the same era through scouting grounds and have made their rise. The hype around Berserker when he entered the league. The same hype now with Prince really matching up against one another. And at FlyQuest, as they take down the turret over on the top side, they are working to keep that gold even as everything else in the game.
Yeah, look at the encroaching vision as well. Slowly moving in ward line. I want to check actually in the top laner battle. I know it's kind of a meme that they're always isolated, but Fudge, after Divine Thunder being completed here and with so much cooldown reduction, even just with boots plus that plus Kindle Gem, really starting to get a lot of priority here. Pushing him in under turret, roaming up to the rest of the team.
So with all of that considered, 18.5 minutes into the game, we discussed the importance of Blaber to make the plays on Elise and FlyQuest to respond. But with the even state, what do you make of where the advantages lie for either of these teams?
I mean, it definitely feels like FlyQuest is dictating the tempo of this game. They're seemingly always the ones with control of River. At the moment, it doesn't look like Fudge is able to push Impact out, and Vicla still just dominates the Jayce in the side lane. So that's why you see EMENES actually just avoiding players, getting a little bit of gold back, but because he's getting this turret gold, the rest of the team has to play defense.
Yeah, with that push, Cloud9 are the one that get the objective here. FlyQuest actually don't really get anything out of it except for trading minion waves. So that is a huge win for Cloud9 again. With 4 members, they're able to draw everybody over. Pushing in. They did lose vision coverage through the river, through mid and bottom, and that can be seen kind of as a mini objective. But more money onto that Jayce. EMENES up to 14 now.
Kobe, where are you currently on Jayce's scale? Because I keep hearing from pro players that, like, actually it's pretty good. So it's 0-4. I think in the past you'd say Jayce's game is over, but probably not anymore. If he gets a few items and snipes Prince with an EQ, it's still going to hurt.
Spica and Vicla, Blaber upon Blaber, teleport for teleport. And now EMENES into the action as well. The bot lane from FlyQuest keeping their eyes on the prize alongside that river where they have the most warding available to them. And a bit of that contest, we're seeing that clustering together once more since EMENES has rejoined the team after making that push previously on top side.
Yeah, to answer your question though, the days of, hey, Jayce is a lane bully top lane champion, that then starts to fall off if you don't make use of him snowballing and then poking through the mid game. are definitely over, because it's not even that overwhelming of a lane phase anymore, and is a lot about all the sources of extra. Ooh, Fudge. Just gonna take this one. Little love tap there. Cloud9, they have so many sources of extra damage scaling. The biggest thing that FlyQuest have over them is this Sion. And that's what they're using to try and brute force plays. Impact on Sion, if he can have some good ults, if they can funnel them into these smaller jungle corridors, he is the big difference maker, being the front line, being the tank that Cloud9 don't have. And so Cloud9, their tank is they have to play around these abilities. The Renata disengage, that giant ultimate, or the Elise trying to land some CC from range.
And I'd also say, looking at Prince, even though he's very far behind Berserker in this game, completing the Infinity Edge, I think, makes him relevant for upcoming fights. I think the previous fights with how far behind he's been, a lot of it has had to be Vicla, Spica, Impact, but now with the Infinity Edge, he's going to be able to do stuff.
That and
Nice.
more. Now,
Oh,
Impact,
so good.
already knew Fudge was here, Blaber as well. Good play to make it work for Cloud9.
Baron?
Look at the cross map, though.
Baron?
It's already
Baron.
gone. That is red, white guns, and that Infinity Edge you mentioned. Red, white guns melt the Baron. Actually, just white, green melts the Baron. They get a tower, they get a pick for Cloud9. They're gonna get 2 towers, in fact. This game is so fast.
So let's talk about that, though. I think that was a great call by FlyQuest, because 21 minutes into the game, in being able to go to Soul Point with Dragon up in 30 seconds, it's a logical play for Blaber to make that kill down bottom lane, but FlyQuest just sends everyone for Baron and they sneak it.
Even getting Baron, though, with Cloud9 picking up Dragon plus 2 turrets plus a kill, I actually
the
like
gold is
more. We'll see what FlyQuest can get with this Baron. But Jatt, that is a plus 800 gold Baron. Great.
That's not that much.
Cloud9 got a dragon, and they took 2
I think
outer
the Dragon's
turrets off
worth
the rip.
more than 600 gold currently, if the Baron doesn't get anything done, because they can still siege with the power from Baron, and they're going to be getting some turrets.
That's why I love watching these 2 teams fight. They're so fast. Neither of them blinking in these choices for the objectives. It's just full commit to the other side of the map. Cloud9, lickety split, take 3 immediately.
And that full commit to the strategies from both sides, I think that shows the contention when trying to figure out what is the better play, because of that swiftness with response, because of the way these 2 teams approach the game, and make sure to get something on the map when giving up elsewhere. Now with Baron buff in tow, FlyQuest trying to offset Cloud9 stand around these turrets. They have waves ushering from bot side and mid, and looking to effort those forward while they're wearing purple.
The most comical story is, of course, EMENES and his continued Jayce play today. I can't believe he actually didn't manage to get one of the last hits on the bottom side play, but still working at putting out that poke, and he remains aggressive. Still looking for a lot of these blank plays.
Oh, finds a bit of action here for Fudge off of that charm through, but luckily has a team behind him.
I think the next point of action here is for FlyQuest to try and funnel them into the smaller area to get impact and effective Sion ultimate. They've been able to increase that gold advantage marginally since we last checked in. Another 500 gold or so. But that is about it.
A Baron of questionable value, debatable value, I think, for whether or not it gave them an advantage in this game. It's still going to come down to this next Drake fight, but they're so active, a wipe could happen at any moment.
Oh, the knockback.
That was quick up and down.
Yeah, that was a very quick response from Blaber, but FlyQuest still in pursuit. Eventually complete the goal at hand. Vicla isolating onto EMENES. Another death into his pocket, stacking up on the day.
There are the picks that FlyQuest needed. That's going to be big rewards for them. 2 members down for Cloud9. Not having a tank, all they have left is Berserker.
That gold lead that it had at one point ballooned to 2.5k for Cloud9 off of that top side play to build up Berserker has now been slowly chipped and whittled by FlyQuest, finally getting a pick now to bring the lead into their favor by almost 1,000 gold at 25 minutes.
So Berserker is still roughly 3,000 gold ahead of Prince individually, but everyone else is basically behind. We have a 10,000 gold on Zhao. We have almost 12,000 gold on Ahri. Death cap possibly completed before this soul fight. And Blaber might be in trouble again. Is it a bait?
So often we're seeing Spica go for it, and Spica with the Crescent Guard in full effect has to use it for the escape here. No lives lost.
That ultimate is critical because that's the only thing that can actually tank Berserker's damage. Even impact drops very quickly now with the Lord Doms for Berserker, so they have to really watch it without that cooldown, try and fight around it. FlyQuest just resetting here, trying to recover lanes afterwards. Dragon 1.5 minutes in advance means you've got about 30 seconds before you need to go back for your control wards and try and retake vision to set it up.
And I think this game is definitely delivering. The first time these teams played this year, FlyQuest wins 29 minutes. The second time they played this year, Cloud9 wins 26 minutes. This game, 26 minutes in, 500 gold difference. Berserker super fed. Let's see what happens.
Always looking for the angle. Vicla on the entrance takes a decent amount of damage. The Whirling Death attempt to conclude his life, but not to be had just yet.
Berserker super fed. Let's see if it's Berserker super carry. Everything is on his shoulders. Here comes the possible Dragon Soul. They're resetting. Hex Gates actually give you extra time for it as well. And here comes the extra control wards. Eyla coming right back out. FlyQuest trying to set it up. And Sion ultimate is available here for impact to force.
It is looking like both teams are just going to fight around this. I was wondering if Fudge was going to try and split push on Jax and just generate some gold. But if they get this Drake, they would get that Hextech Soul, which is incredibly powerful for their team comp.
EMENES is only level 13. His poke is really not even doing that much. Even to Eyla there. Not going to get a lot of value out of it.
It's the Berserker show if he can get it done.
And now just a little bit longer until all ults are available for both
Poke's
teams.
doing all right.
Yeah, when you layer it up like that a little bit.
That one looked good. That one looked good.
That one looked fine.
Gets him where he's effectively has to be pushed off when Eyla's one of the ones you're looking to have that protective capability. So can Cloud9 capitalize upon that? They're going for the tank.
The damage!
Lord Doms!
That did not take them long to burn down. Impact the Whirling Death for the double kill. Berserker ready to pop off so they can get this dragon right here, even with the charm being eaten by one. Spica goes in, cannot credit. Blaber secures the dragon, getting the soul. Moonlight Vigil dishing out a decent amount of damage, but nothing to be followed up upon yet. Vicla looking to get some kind of kill for the reprieve of what just happened.
Prince.
But Cloud9
he has flash.
on the retreat. They do manage to disengage here. What a play for them to make sure they took that dragon and were stacking them. All right.
If you come at the king, you best not miss. Blaber dodges a charm, hits the cocoon, sends a Vicla back to base, and with that, Cloud9 throw their stamp down. My goodness, all damage all the time. Yeah, I love it.
So the gold is actually even before this, and Impact is actually quite fed, but Berserker is even more fed. They just...
This is what I'm saying.
Root him.
It melts through tanks, doesn't matter.
The Evan Shroud that Zven had enhanced the damage they could do to Sion there, so Berserker hit him for even more. Now they're going for Baron.
Got movement to the Baron side, and lots used on Fudge, but Fudge does not mind eating up these hooks and more. Cloud9 secure the Baron, trying to turn the fight onto FlyQuest. A follow-up hook in response, but in the end, Berserker still popping off, getting the work done for the team with a triple kill. Is he going for more? What a moment for Cloud9 to explore the potential that Berserker has proven again and again on this Draven.
Statement game for Berserker and Cloud9 here. Try to end it.
Oh, sacrificing the life of Fudge, but Cloud9 feeling confident in their push across this mid lane, taking the inhibitor. It is a lone support standing for FlyQuest and two turrets ready to collapse. Cloud9 looking so good throughout the season, even after faltering a little bit, prove why they're the #1 seed.
Something the top of the screen doesn't tell you, concentrated gold on a carry is so much more valuable than spread resources.
And the showdown of the Aphelios versus Draven, Prince versus Berserker, goes incredibly in the favor of Berserker. 12-1-2 to the 0-4-7. And you know what? We didn't even need to have this game. If Cloud9 beats CLG in the first game, we don't play this tiebreaker, but this is the entertainment factor that Cloud9 knows we want.
Thank you, Cloud9, for dropping their game to CLG.